Alright guys, got quite a Formula 1 news. Ferrari have brought plenty of upgrades over these last few rounds. McLaren bring one to Hungary and they win the Grand Prix. Mercedes therefore have decided it's about time that they respond, not just with aerodynamic changes planned for the upcoming rounds, but also with the new Aero engine on the way. All the talk has been about Ferrari's upgraded engine arriving, we think, for Monza, but Mercedes, controversially, also have half the benefit. They can bring a similar update to Monza to try to counter what Ferrari are up to and hold off a charging Hamilton.
Mercedes have finally broken their silence about a major upgraded engine and new aerodynamic package ahead of Dutch GP, and this could completely change the second half of the Formula 1 season. After George Russell repeatedly claimed that there were issues with his car and that it wasn't performing at its full potential, Mercedes have now admitted that his poor race start was caused by a technical problem on their side. The team has accepted responsibility and is already working to solve those engine issues with new upgrades. But here's the biggest story: these improvements could become Ferrari's biggest threat and a serious warning ahead of the crucial Monza Grand Prix. Can Mercedes stop Ferrari's comeback before it even begins? Let's dive into all the details. Let's start with the confession itself, because this one has been a long time coming. For weeks, George Russell has been telling anyone who will listen that something feels off with his car, that he is down on power compared to teammate Kimi Antonelli, and that it is not simply a matter of driving style. It sounds like Mercedes quietly brushed those complaints aside internally, treating it as something Russell needed to adapt to rather than something the team needed to fix. Then, Hungary happened. Russell's start from the grid completely fell apart, and the finger-pointing started almost instantly. Antonelli, only 19 and clearly not yet media-trained into giving rehearsed answers, said out loud in the cool-down room that Russell had overcharged his battery on the formation lap and lost his boost as a result. It sounded like a simple case of driver error, and for a moment that seemed to be the accepted explanation. Except it was not. Once Mercedes dug into the telemetry properly, a very different picture emerged. This was not George mismanaging his start procedure. This was a genuine glitch somewhere in the power unit itself. The data shows his revs climbing well past where they should have settled. He backed off the throttle to compensate, and the engine simply did not respond. Then the lights went out, and the car nearly stalled off the line. Team Principal Toto Wolff has since come out publicly and taken the blame directly, saying the team let Russell down. Combine that with the earlier revelation that a software issue really was quietly costing him performance for weeks, and you start to see a pattern that is not exactly flattering for how that side of the garage has been run this year. Here is why this matters beyond one bad start in Budapest. Mercedes went into this season assuming they had built enough of a championship cushion to coast on engine development, saving resources for next year's regulation reset instead. That plan now appears to be dead in the water. Ferrari have been steadily closing the gap all summer with a consistent stream of upgrades, and McLaren just proved in Hungary that a single well-timed update can be worth an entire race win. Mercedes clearly realized that sitting still is not an option anymore. So the upgraded power unit supposedly being saved for next season is now being pulled forward into this one, bringing improvements to combustion efficiency, a reworked turbo, a new fuel specification, and meaningfully better reliability, alongside a fresh wave of aerodynamic parts. It is a genuine strategy reversal, and it tells you how seriously Mercedes are taking the growing threat from Maranello. Teams do not tear up a season-long plan on a whim. Speaking of Ferrari, this is where things get genuinely tense. Their first upgraded engine landed in Austria and gave a modest but noticeable boost. Everyone in the paddock knew it was just an appetizer. The second, more powerful version is expected to arrive right at Ferrari's home race in Monza, and given the timing, the stakes could not be much higher. If that engine delivers and Ferrari beats Mercedes on merit at Monza, this championship stops being a formality and turns into a real fight. Mercedes clearly know this too, which is exactly why they are rushing their own updates out the door now rather than waiting. So Monza is not just another round this year. It is shaping up as the moment that could decide whether Ferrari genuinely have a shot at the title or whether Mercedes shut that door for good. Lewis Hamilton's season so far has been solid without ever quite becoming spectacular. His win in Barcelona was a genuine highlight. But look at his results at 3 tracks historically among his very best: Spa, Budapest and Silverstone, 3rd, 4th, and 5th. Those are circuits where he would normally expect to be fighting for the win, not scrapping for a podium. He heads into the summer break roughly 50 points behind. That sounds substantial, but it is far from insurmountable, especially with a car getting stronger by the round and a major engine upgrade still to come at Monza. Hamilton has clawed back larger deficits than this before, and if Ferrari execute, this title fight could look completely different by October. It is not just a 2-team story either, and it would be a mistake to treat it that way. McLaren showed in Hungary that their upgrade package can be genuinely devastating on the right kind of circuit. Even if the car's higher overall drag levels mean they are unlikely to dominate everywhere for the rest of the season, still, they will be a real threat at select rounds between now and Abu Dhabi, and that alone limits how much comfortable breathing room either Ferrari or Mercedes can realistically expect to enjoy. Meanwhile, Aston Martin quietly had one of the more encouraging weekends of their entire season. Their new upgrade package was worth well over 1.5 seconds a lap compared to their previous specification, and crucially, the improvement matched almost exactly what their simulation tools had predicted beforehand, which is often the far harder box for any team to tick. They are still well off the outright pace of the genuine frontrunners, but the trajectory is clearly pointing upward, and with Honda's much-anticipated engine upgrade expected to land soon after the summer break, that remaining gap could shrink even further before the year is out. Put it all together, and the second half of this season is shaping up to be one of the most unpredictable stretches Formula One has produced in years. Mercedes are no longer able to simply coast. They have been forced to publicly admit fault, rush out new engine and aerodynamic upgrades ahead of schedule, and now have to defend a championship lead that suddenly does not feel nearly as safe as it did just a month ago. Ferrari, meanwhile, have a genuine power unit leap arriving at exactly the right moment, on home soil, in front of their own passionate fans who have waited years for a real title fight. And in the background, McLaren and a rapidly resurgent Aston Martin remain more than capable of scrambling the order even further at almost any given round. Monza was always going to be a significant race on this year's calendar. Now, given everything converging at once, it might genuinely be the single race that defines the entire back half of this championship battle. So that is exactly where things stand heading into the summer break. Mercedes are on the back foot after finally admitting the truth about George Russell's car, and Ferrari are sitting on an engine upgrade that could turn Monza into the biggest race of the entire year. Do you think Mercedes can genuinely hold on and defend their hard-earned lead, or is Ferrari's long-awaited, hard-fought comeback finally about to happen right in front of us? Drop your predictions down in the comments below, hit that like button if you enjoyed this breakdown, and subscribe if you are new here so you do not miss what happens next. Thanks so much for watching this breakdown, and I will see you all in the next one very soon.